Fellas, you know Degree Cool Rush deodorant, right? Well, last year they changed the formula, and guys were mad about it. One dude even started a petition. So guess what? Degree heard us, admitted they messed up, and brought the original Cool Rush scent back exactly how it was. And it's in Walmart, Target, and other stores now for under $4. So grab some and remember why its cool, crisp, and fresh scent made it the #1 men's antiperspirant for the last decade. Degree Cool Rush is back, and it smells like victory for all of us.
Auto insurance can all seem the same until it comes time to use it. So don't get stuck paying more for less coverage. Switch to USAA Auto Insurance and you could start saving money in no time. Get a quote today. Restrictions apply.
USAA. Hilton brings you new ways to stay. With experiences that let you capture the glory days. Introducing the Graduate Hotels. Each inspired by local college towns, these stays are always original and never boring. Get in touch with traditions all across the country and enjoy a stay that's a class above the rest. Book at Graduate Hotels with Hilton Honors Points at Hilton.com. It's a win-win. Hilton, for the stay.
From the Fifth Quarter Studios in Madison, Wisconsin, you are listening to High School Hoops with our hosts, Steve Collins and Jake Steger. Hey, everybody. Welcome to episode 15 of High School Hoops. This week, we're going to talk about scoring. We're going to talk about scouting, and I'm not going to edit that out. We're going to talk about scouting. Before Jake and I do that, I want to give a big shout out to Dr. Dish. Make sure you go over and check them out. The #1 shooting machine on the market. Mention Coach Unplugged or High School Hoops, and they'll take really good care of you and give you $300 off. Also, make sure you go over and check out teachhoops.com for coaches who want to get better. I can't imagine a better time of the year to improve your coaching, to take it to the next level. Go over and check it out. Let's head off to the podcast. All right, welcome to High School Hoops, episode 15, I think. 15, yes, episode 15. I looked at this topic. I'm going to tell you right now, we are only going to scratch the surface. See, I'm scratching my microphone. We're only going to scratch the surface on this. I could literally talk about this, and I'll tell a story to Jake here in a second, but I could talk about this, no lie, for 5 hours. I mean, it's crazy, but go ahead, tell the subject, and then I'll tell my story.
Well, I think what you're talking about too is here's our question, and I can go a little bit too. Okay. Is how to approach scouting an opponent. And when I joined Teach Hoops 2 years ago, that was what we talked about for several months. Was a lot of our one-to-one, right. Even our office hours, sort of talking about scouting opponents, because when it comes down to it, those are the discussions and the things that are so valuable of joining a basketball community about that, is you get other perspectives and ideas. Okay. So it's a long thing.
It is. And the check's in the mail for the plug on TV. Checks in the mail. But the thing is, so I'm going to tell a story. So I took over a program 20 plus years ago. It was horrible. Had six winning seasons in like 40 years. I was the only applicant. Horrible. And my first season, we were 7-14. We weren't very good. And I remember sitting in that locker room with my former head coach, who became my assistant, who became the principal, and saying, "I can't do this. I can't go through 7-14 again." And so he finally got me on the bus, got me out of the locker room. All the kids were gone. And on that bus ride, it was from lacrosse. And we played a really good lacrosse team tight. We weren't very good. I think we had like 3 dentists on that team. I'm not kidding. That ended up being dentists.
Wow.
So they were smart kids, but they were good dentists. They could clean your teeth. But on that bus ride home, I remember us sitting and figuring out what we could do as a program to get better. And, because you got to take the kids that show up in at your door, the first day when they're freshmen. You got to take what you have. But one spot that we knew, and this was 20 years ago, this was 2 VHS tapes. We knew we could out-scout, out-hustle, outwork people to figure out what they were doing, more than the pre-huddle, pre-crossover. We figured out a way that we could outwork people to get a couple wins, and we did. The following year, we got some wins just because we out-hustled people. We sent scouts to every game with big VHS tape things and videotaping, and that helped us. I mean, so I think scouting, it has changed in 20 years, but I think scouting is a place where you can at least stay steady with your opponents, if not increase a little bit. And the reason being is you're just giving your team, your players, and yourself information and tendencies. Like high school, in my opinion, high school hoops is a lot of it's about matchups. So if I know Johnny can only do these 3 things and I can convey that to my players, that's an advantage for us. And most high school kids, we're not talking about the 5-star recruit that's going to Kentucky. We're talking about the kid that runs cross country, then plays basketball, and then is on the baseball team. You can come up with, here are the 3 tendencies that John's going to do every time he catches the ball. Here's how he's going to attack the rim. Here's how he's going to do these things. And if you've got a team that's semi-cerebral, you can beat people with that. Yeah. I'm thoroughly convinced you can win basketball games by out scouting people.
Another thing is too, a misconception is it's just not a varsity thing. You can work on tendencies with your JV and your freshman team.
Yes.
I think often people just think that they go in and only the varsity, but you don't have to over scout, but you're going to be able to play most of your teams twice and look at your stats from the previous time you played them, especially now with the technology with Huddle.
Right.
You can track all that.
Yeah, and I get it. For the hard part for the freshman JV is maybe you don't see them until that first opponent. But a lot of people that are playing, even youth coaches, you'll see a team, but then you'll see them again at some point. The issue is how are you taking down notes? How are you getting that information to yourself and your players? I think.
And a lot of programs are still system-based, so a lot of teams will still run their freshman team is going to run the same thing the varsity runs. Right. So if you can communicate that with your staff, it only is going to help you even on the sideline when your JV and your freshman coaches are on. If you're a varsity coach, that terminology, if the team is running the flex and you're bumping that flex screen, that talk on the bench is going to be more authentic for the coaches when they're talking to the varsity guys on the bench. So you can scout more than just within one team in your program. The whole program can be circled around what you're doing.
Right. I agree. I mean, and it's how you do it too. I could, like I said, I could do 5 hours on it. I could literally, anybody that would be watching at this point, I have books up behind. I could hand a book on every coach in our league. I could say, here's what they're going to do. Here's how they're going to do it. So on and so forth. I could do that. But you know what? Do you know what would happen to that? It would get thrown in the backpack and they won't look at it. You have to put it in almost Spark Note / Cliff Note versions for the boys, and then go through and watch film. Then go through the more in-depth one. I believe in an in-depth scout, but it's more for me. I got to get it. If I can't get it down to a page or 2 for the boys or the girls then I'm not doing my job. No. It's worthless.
But the other thing is it takes a lot of time.
It takes a lot of time.
You have, if you're gonna really dedicate to scouting and you want to be very successful, even when you have a good team, scouting takes a lot of time. So those people that have busy schedules and stuff, talking about laying out your calendar, delegating, maybe even delegating some people in your program to fast draw some things. I've done that in years past with some of my assistants, which made my life easier. Yep. So if I play a team 2 weeks from now, I might have one of my assistants view the game and fast draw it all and clip it, and then I'll look back and see that, because that'll take up a lot of less time for me later on.
Right. So, yeah. And it's like, you delegation is a whole different story, but you have to, you have to be able to break it up into pieces. And it's gotten easier. I'm telling you, like, I'm sounding like an old guy that used to walk uphill both ways to school kind of thing. No, but I mean, I'm telling you that you don't know how good you have it with crossover and huddle and then breaking all the film down, and you can find any clip on any kid at any time. It's crazy. I mean, I had to do all that stuff like by hand kind of thing.
Maybe you'll be in the Smithsonian one day, Coach.
Yeah, something. I got some VCRs. If anybody's looking for VCRs, let me know. I got a bunch of VCRs for you. Hey, Coach, I hope you're enjoying that as much as I am. Make sure you go over and check out teachhoops.com for coaches who want to get better. 14-day free trial. Stop that treadmill. Stop the lawnmower. Stop the snowblower, whatever you're using, and go over and check it out. Great resources. It's a community of like-minded coaches. It's like I've said before, Netflix on steroids, but it is something I started that I would have wanted as a coach. So the support, the resources, all that kind of stuff. So go over and check it out. And also, please subscribe and like. Those are really important for us. Kind of move up that pecking order in iTunes. We want to get the word out to more and more coaches, and that's how we can do it. So, and I'd love to take my wife out to dinner. So go over and check out teachhoops.com. All right, let's get back to the podcast.
I don't think Blockbuster sells them anymore, to be honest, but yeah.
So we talked about a lot of just the overall commitment, why it's important, but like how do you then, when you're scouting an appointment, what are some key points that coaches can take from today? Just not knowing that it's going to take time,
right?
That it is really important. It can give you an you're not a good appointment. What are some things that you look at, or how do you adjust your practice?
A couple things. I think it's important to see a team in person. Tape is different than in person. So like I know sometimes my first couple opponents, I won't be able to see them in person. So I like seeing them in person. The first time that I go, I'll have someone come with me, and I'll have them. If I'm doing the scout, I don't really get a lot that I'm looking for general tendencies. I'm looking for speed. I'm looking for quickness. I'm looking for those general tendencies, because the film will break down the little stuff for me, or I will break, I can always go back. So, most coaches lie on heights. Most coaches lie on all that stuff. So I always have to get down to the court, because I know I'm 6 foot. So I can figure out that kid isn't really 6'8". That kid's 6'4", and the coach put 6'8" in the thing. You can't. So all that stuff you can't really tell from tape. You can't tell quickness from tape. You can't tell height from tape. There's things that you have to see in person. So that would be the first thing, is I'd make sure that you get there in person. I think that's my phone. Who's calling? Yeah, it's mine. So yes, we still have a landline in the Collins household, if you can believe that.
That's cool.
It is cool. No, we have it because of my son. He has a peanut tree allergy. So I want it for the 911 thing if I ever need it. But anyway, most people don't have landlines anymore, but I do. I'm the sucker that's paying for the landline. Anyway, so and I'm not editing that out because I don't care.
No. It's real.
So it is real. So going back to that is all right, where's my train of thought? My train of thought was where, Coach?
You were just talking about the importance of being
in person. Yes. So then when I get there, I'm looking for those general tendencies, for speed, for height, for those kind of things. Then when I'm trying to jot down during the game, if I'm actually watching during a game, is I'm trying to look for out of bounds plays, things that may be special. I'm looking for calls. Mm-hmm. So I always usually set my cameras across, looking at the opposing coach
to see what they do on the bench.
I want to see what they do. I don't need to see their timeouts and what they're drawing at timeouts. Whatever. I don't need to see that.
But they might be doing some nonverbal cues.
They're doing cues during the game, probably, or their assistants are. So I want to see their faces, and I want to see as the player would see it, kind of running down the court. So then I'm looking for calls. I'm looking for, they're calling, whatever they're doing or holding something up. I want to be able to see that. So I'm never behind their bench. I'm always opposite their bench, or the bench of the team that I'm scouting. And then, like I said, I'm looking for out of bounds plays. I'm looking for quick hitters. I'm looking for tendencies of players. I'm looking for personality. This kid's a hothead. This kid's a workhorse. This kid's the one that's going to get on the floor. This kid's an offensive rebounding machine. Because, again, you can kind of see that on tape, but you really can't see it on tape. Because all the nuances and, this is – and I'll talk into my camera. Ooh, coach just called blue. Coach just called blue. So when then I'm rewatching it, I'll know that's their blue call. And then then I can rewind it. I can cue it back. Those are some easy hints that I do during the game. What about you, Coach?
I think those are all things that I would look at. I talked about this idea of looking at tendencies. But then once that comes down, I think about it in the sense of how can we exploit their weaknesses, a big question, and how are they going to exploit us, I think is another thing.
That's a good idea. Yeah. That's a great point. Yes. Like, oh my God, they're super quick and we're slow.
Yeah. So let's take an example, a team that constantly love to run and gun. I mean,
Right.
and they're going to kill us. So, like,
Right.
we would pick up their ball handler right at when they got the rebound, and we slowed them down, and we ran some 3-2 zone. Then we sometimes trapped in the corner. So we thought about what were they going to do that may give us problems.
Yep. And that's just an old coach. I'm already thinking that when I walk in the gym, it's like, oh crud, there's a bunch of like, oh my God, look how tall they are, beanstalks here. Oh my goodness.
But not even the simple fact of, are they going to get in our heads? You know, are they going to be physical? I think physical teams can really, with a team that's really finesse, I think that can give a team problems. So maybe you got to up your practice and make it more physical before you play a certain opponent. You know, those type of things can be considered weaknesses in your team as well, and they can exploit it.
Right. So I agree. Anything else, Coach? I mean, again, we gave you the SparkNote version here, the Cliff Note version, but go ahead.
I think one other thing that I've had a lot of success when we with coverages and so forth is not so much worrying about every set play, but a lot of teams run certain screens and how you review screen coverage, which I think we could talk about a later day.
Ooh,
but like a lot of times, certain teams, I got this idea from, I went to watch Green Bay practice a couple of years ago when they had Coach Wardle, and they were really good with Kiefer Sykes. And they did a lot of things when they scouted teams. They would do 3-on-3, but everything they were doing on 3-on-3 were the screens that they were facing a lot of that given opponent. So if a team's running a lot of ball screens, they're constantly, anything 3-on-3 is a constant ball screen after a pass given away. So, you know, that's one thing I've had success with in regards to scouting, is looking at screen tendencies.
Yeah, and I think that's something we should talk about moving forward too, about how you take scouts and then how you incorporate it into practice. Because I think you and I do that a lot, and it's just something we just do. But I think there's a lot of young coaches that might be listening to this that don't, like, God, this team just goes to the offensive glass like no team I've ever seen. How are we going to work on that during the week or the 2 or 3 days that I have to prep? You and I just think that way. You know what I mean?
Right.
We have to, we'll have a discussion about that.
But that takes time. I didn't think like that right away.
Right. Yes.
And my mind has changed since talking to you and talking to other coaches. Your perspective changes and you just get better at what you do. It's a craft, you know.
Right.
You know, and the last thing is, and I just put a plug in, you know, with, again, teachhoops.com is a great opportunity to continue to talk about scouting opponents and bouncing off ideas.
Yeah, you know, I'm really surprised how much talk there is on the Facebook group.
It's actually awesome, but I always feel good as somebody that's, you know, I'm still a very young coach, but I've been around for 13, 14 years coaching. Right. I always feel good to pay it back to somebody else.
Yeah, and it's like there's guys that jump on. I mean, I'm busy during the day. I'm teaching my staff. Teaching all day. And there's people that will just jump on and they'll send them five. It's crazy. It's so – I'm going to leave that, even though we're going to have a forum in the new Teach Hoops. I'm going to leave the Facebook group.
You should. I think it's just good for the overall game.
Yeah.
And it's just it's also some people you take for granted from all the knowledge that you have, that some people might just be clueless, you know.
Right.
And they need that support. Like I could not imagine, you know, there is so much information out there, but I think a lot of people are afraid these days to make mistakes when they start coaching.
Right. There was somebody just trying to figure out how to send out the newsletter. Did you see that one?
Yep, exactly.
And it was like someone had to, you know, I use MailChimp. Well, you could BCC. It's all that stuff I just assumed people knew. And it's like,
but I think people now they're so, you know, they have Facebook. People can see everything they do. There is no privacy anymore. So I think people are more likely to fear coaching in a way, because they're constantly being microscoped every single day.
Right.
And we are, like, as teachers, we're on a microscope and coaches every single day.
Well, I know. I was at my banquet and cameras come out. It's like someone's taping my speech to their
exactly.
It's like, okay, this is different than it was 20 years ago.
Exactly.
So everything.
Exactly.
All right. We'll talk soon, Coach. Bye.
Yeah, thanks. Bye-bye.
Hey, Coach, I hope you enjoyed that podcast. You can do a favor. Go leave a review, 5-star. We would really like, and make sure you subscribe so you don't miss anything coming forward. Also, go over and check out teachhoops.com for coaches who want to get better. 14-day free trial. Nothing like that on the web. There is no other resource like what we have, with community, with one-on-one calls, with office hours, all of those things. I can't even list all the things that we offer within our community. So go over and check it out. Have a great week. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.